So, hello everybody, and welcome to today's episode of H1Z1 Dead Feature Rant. I am, of course, Legendary Neurotoxin, coming at you as I am every week this show is on. And on my screen left, H1Z1 Jane returning from last week, and on my screen right, Skylatron returning from, I want to say, a couple of months ago.
I was on with Tess after PAX East.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds right.
So,
Oh my
been,
god.
been a little bit. And it's
Okay,
still
that's forever, yeah.
we're still waiting. It's still early access. We've done 19 episodes of Dead Feature, and I think that's literally 20 weeks of us just be like, gimme, 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 gimme. And I know for Skylatron and I, it's maybe even more difficult because we've played it. We've already seen like it's at
Yeah.
a state that'd be fun enough to sit down and play with a bunch of your buddies, though definitely still not quite at the point where it's ready to deal with everybody.
No, not really. Good for a big LAN. Or like they do internal testing. Probably not good to let the masses hammer at your door, because you know how the internet is.
Indeed.
They'll try to break everything.
So I can see some familiar faces we got in here. Old Greg, Kelitic, Bad Viking, Noodle Cat. Hello, hello, everybody. Yeah, Noodle Cat, you also played it. It's kind of the curse of that stuff. Oh, that let me
Guild
just
taste.
handle that message there.
Did you just ban yourself?
No, it's my bot. Anyway, so let's kind of get through a little mini introduction for everybody here before we start getting into the content. So, H1Z1 Jane, of course, one of our awesome artists in the community. Why don't you kind of give everyone a little review if they didn't see the stuff from last week, where you pretty well explained all of your background with this stuff.
Yeah, it's just that I like zombies. I like what SOE did with PlanetSat 2. I like SOE generally anyway. I thought, well, I did the PlanetSat 2 fan art, and it was okay, but let me try this. This is more interesting. This is more, I can maybe tell a little story, just more backstory. And then I saw the whole, saw the, or listened to the radio broadcast thing, and that inspired me a lot. So I just started doing it, and I was unemployed at the time, so I had a lot of time to start too. So
I would say there was stuff to see, though. That ticker at the bottom had a lot of interesting information. Like, there was, at some point during the Survivor radio, a nuclear bomb went off in India.
Oh, yeah.
And then Pakistan was claiming Western aggression. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Just that ticker itself, I kind of want to see if there's a transcript of it and go back over it sometime, because a
that would be good.
lot of really interesting information. I think some more stuff about Karama, more stuff about the island of Pavaglia was listed in there. Doctor, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, who wrote that book, The Island of Death. So there's a lot of information that was in there. Anyway, continuing with introductions. Thank you for the follow. I don't know if that showed up there. But yeah, that was a Wilhelm scream. For anybody who's not familiar, you two aren't going to hear it because it's only going out to the rest of the folks. But yes, that is my follower sound, is the Wilhelm scream, which I believe should be in H1Z1, as well as the goat helm and various other. You're familiar with the goat helm scream, aren't you, Skylatron?
No?
Oh, I gotta show you that later. Apparently,
Oh
goats
god.
make even better screaming sounds for like movie effects.
What?
Yeah,
Alright,
Oh, yeah.
super
I'll
interested.
find you that later. Or someone in the chat will find it here for us. So, Skylatron, why don't you kind of talk about what you do, what you've been up to, and kind of some of your experiences with H1Z1 up to this point.
Yeah, totally. Let's see. Yeah, we did. I started becoming familiar with H1Z1 because, Smedley is the troll. And everybody remembers that house picture he tweeted out, right? That's jerk. Freaking jerk. But I'm a really big fan of survival games, and I'm also a huge fan of PvP. So and sandbox elements. So that's what brings me really to H1Z1. I think that it'll be perfect for that. I'm a big fan of SOE, like Jane, and the teams behind their games. So I think that that gives it more validity for me and more interest. But yeah, I just game lover and want to make things be did.
Awesome. Definitely something I think a lot of us can relate to here. So, certainly, the survival games definitely, zombies or not, seem like they've really been picking up over the past 10 years, and even the past 5 years, and they've really been starting to get pretty damn good. I think back to what's the first survival game anybody ever plays? Oregon Trail. And, really where
Technically, yeah, technically.
it's, things have come a long way since then. And, even better versions of Oregon Trail are being made in some form or another. So, it's definitely something that I think a lot of people, if you played video games at some point in your life, especially in school, you probably played or came across Oregon Trail. You have played a survival game. And that one, definitely, honestly, thinking about it, it's almost depending on which version or which iteration somebody is playing, almost like a procedural roguelike too at that point, which is kind of neat because it is definitely hardcore. I believe the events are plus or minus generated, based on where you're at on the geographic map, but also plus or minus other random factors, people getting sick, getting attacked by, I don't know if you get attacked by bandits, I think you do, trading opportunities and stuff like that. I don't really think
Yeah, I have honestly not thought about Oregon Trail that in depth before, so thanks.
Well, it is a survival game, and it's
No,
one
it
that a
is.
lot of
Now
people.
that no, you say it that way, it totally is. But I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, my first computer that played games on was Apple IIe, and I think it was text-based, something like what we saw with the MUDs, but it's just a single-player sort of thing. But I do remember Oregon Trail being in there too, later on.
So you played Zork and games like that, then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have played MUDs in the past. Different MUDs, different names, different cyberpunk theme, some fantasy theme, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and it's something. It's a really easy genre to really put in, or not a genre, easy style of game rather to put into any genre, because having to go from point A to point B, surviving off the land, trying to keep everyone healthy, that really fits any genre. You can put that anywhere. It just so happens that Oregon Trail was the most successful and recognizable of them, and I secretly hope that it was some person who really hated history growing up had a desire to make history more entertaining for future generations, because that's basically like my favorite thing from any history class or whatever, going back to my earlier years in school. But anyway, enough about me, enough about Oregon Trail. Let's talk about Mitch Evans. So I linked the video to the two of you earlier, and let me dredge up the link to post in chat here, unless either of you can do that for me here. Actually, that'd probably be easier. I'm pretty sure you should both be able to. It's pretty cool. It's only about a 4-minute video, and it is just jam-packed with information. So first of all, Mitch Evans, he's been working at SOE, I believe he said 8 years, working on server-side code, AI, and gameplay programming. So that's pretty cool in itself, that he's one of the many SOE veterans that's been put on the project, and that he's got a lot of versatility in the different areas where he works on the project. It isn't, I know Adam Clegg probably has more than just level design that he's capable of working on, but he's mostly just working on level design. Mitch Evans seems like he's pretty much just a badass. Like, wherever code is needed to make things awesome, the call is made to him, and he gets it done. So that's really, really cool. So the first question that comes up is about how to lessen the KOS deathmatch aspect of the game, and he has a really good answer. Basically, his answer: zombies are a major threat. When players die in an area, that attracts zombies and wildlife. When players fire shots at a distance, that attracts zombies, that attracts wildlife. So if you make it a KOS fest, you and everyone that's involved in it is going to get ground up by the zombies and the wildlife really, really fast. I think that's smart. I really like it. I like the video they showed of the sniper getting snuck in the rain by the horde of zombies. So, gonna throw it over to you two because I feel like I've been talking for a while here and kind of want to take a sip. Skylatron, why don't you start us off? What are your thoughts on the kind of counter to the KOS issue that the community is worried about?
I'm really excited about the way that they're combating it with zombie AI. But like I said, I love PvP, so I do really want to kill players. But I'm excited that there is another level of that, that I actually have to be strategic with the way that I, find and murder other humans. No, I think that this is gonna set it apart from other games in the genre, having smart AI like that.
For sure. So, beyond just the AI being smart, how do you feel about the idea of, I suppose, the players being kind of stupid in the situations and that they, maybe don't even know enough about the world to make intelligent decisions initially about, who to engage, and so even if they try to KOS fest, it's just going to blow up in their face really quickly.
Yeah, but we're all on the same page when we start out, right? So we're all kind of stupid, except for maybe those of us who have played a little bit, but certainly we haven't played enough to become experts, right? So we're all kind of dumb when we go into it, and I think that's going to be hilarious. And it'll be really fun, and it'll be a learning experience for everyone, and we'll all get to adapt to it together. And hey, maybe that'll be part of your strategy is figuring out a way to get a horde of zombies over to, like, take over a base or something like that. Like, maybe you use that to your advantage.
Absolutely. I could definitely see, that is a skill of its own, being able to attract a horde of zombies and take them somewhere without yourself getting eaten in the process. And I'm sure the bicycle will really help with that when that comes along.
I've had a lot of practice. I've had a lot of practice being the stupid one, bringing in the bad things in all games, so that's good.
Leroy
Jenkins.
Yeah.
It's funny because I work with a guy. His last name is Jenkins, and he says, "Yeah, he's heard it all."
Yeah, he would get that from all sides. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh man.
That still didn't pop up, but Blackwatch, thank you very much, and Primeval before that. Anyway, y'all hear that Wilhelm on the other side. So, I guess other thoughts from you, Jane, on the subject of, the shots being fired and deaths in an area being contributed to the heat map and potentially being things to kind of counter the ability to have a KOS fest.
Yeah, I like PvP. I'm definitely not like one of those persons that's a Care Bear, to borrow an Eve term. Although care bearing has its place, that definitely does in those kind of games, or any game, collecting things and doing, PvE stuff. But that said, this makes it have PvP with depth and realism and that famous word immersion. So that's what's exciting to me. The AI is what I'm interested in, and how it reacts to what players do. So definitely, I'm definitely for all that. And I can't wait to see how that works and how to play it off of how to troll other players who are the enemy, who are deemed the enemy, and that's another thing too. We got AI, but then we got the other players interacting, and so socially, how are people going to deal with this? One group is blue or red to the other, so to speak, and how are they going to treat all the other dangers out there? And train them onto other people. It'll be really fun to see that.
Oh yeah, well, especially having like a roll of fireworks or firecrackers rather that you can light and run and allow those to just be a giant lure in an area. No shots have been fired, but just as if an assault rifle had been fired off in full auto, things are just going to swarm on that position. Now, they also said, and this was getting towards the end of it, not only are firearms going to be attracting zombies and predator animals, it's also going to scare away your prey animals, your easy shooting, your easy eating animals. So that's one of the other consequences. If you make a lot of ruckus in an area, your opportunity to go find a deer somewhere or something easy to kill and eat is going to go down significantly. You're going to have to go a lot further to find that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's definitely risk versus reward. It seems like in every aspect of gameplay, which really is what survival is about: risk versus reward. I think that's why a lot of people like this, because it feels more interactive, and you actually make a change in the world, and you affect other people at the same time in deeper ways than you had in just a PvP kill fest type thing. Although PvP kill fests are fun, but I mean, come on, get some depth in there, and it's even more fun because you use different parts of your brain. So,
I think that's what we're bringing to the table here, though. Definitely with this game specifically is that that AI business. Is the immersion, is the using strategy and all of that stuff. So.
And I think the other thing to it isn't just dynamic entities in the world. The world itself is a dynamic place. The heat map itself is just one aspect, and I don't know if you would necessarily consider it an AI entity of its own, or more of something that completely supports the AI system. But it's definitely a major factor of things. And between that and the ability to set up places in the world, that if something affects the world, if a building's on fire, you'll probably see that smoke way in the distance. Trees lit on fire, you'll see that smoke way in the distance. Tree gets felled, you're going to be able to see the tree being felled, even if you actually can't draw the model of the character at that distance. So as things happen in the world, not just character to character, but also involving the actual structures in the world, and the plants and trees and all of that sort of stuff, and probably other things. There might be barricades that, like, if you and a bunch of people come to this tunnel with a bunch of dynamite, you can blow out an area that leads to a new zone, but you got to be able to survive long enough to get there with dynamite first. And when that happens, big heat map blip is going to go down, that something happened there. There's going to be a lot of action and a lot of zombies in the area where there might not have been before. But at the same time, there is now a new area open in that part of the world that wasn't before, that might have a lot of new features to it, and potentially, like you were saying, a completely different sort of rule set. Everything in the game right now, you're either indoors in a house, you're out in nature. There aren't any like large natural cavernous areas or big underground tunnel ways or sewer systems or anything like that we've seen. So that'll definitely add an extra layer of variation to the actual gameplay area, being able to go in and do stuff like that. So one other thing that was talked about for trying to reduce the KOS deathmatch factor was adding a karma system. Now, I thought that was kind of interesting. I had to watch that part of the video a couple times. It's like, karma system, wait, what the hell are they talking about? Did I miss something? Then I realized, they're talking about in context of the the KOS deathmatch. And that's what it sounds like some people might want to have, is the more you just go and KOS people, or the more that you're killing other players in general, or perhaps if you're killing more people and hurting more people than you're helping people, then having a potential set of disadvantages. Maybe you get sick quicker. Maybe every other cabinet or every other thing that you search is just going to be empty just because the game wants to screw with you. So because your karma is really bad. So that's something that I'm really interested in. What are your thoughts, both of you, on karma? Jane, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Okay, I think it'd be interesting if karma is somehow tied into something that allowed, if they have sort of an organizational system where, say, you really built up this town and you got a couple of guys that are like part of the sheriff's team, or the law enforcement, whatever kind of law enforcement looks like at that time, then maybe you could have a list of people or something that is considered like like a sort of a message board of, hey, this person did this, or sort of complaints of this one person. You could somehow have some side to that, and maybe that would become like a thing where you go hunt them down and you bring them to justice, that kind of thing. That's how I was thinking, as far as a sort of karma system in this post-apocalyptic sort of Wild West, so to speak, lawless situation. I could definitely see someone going, there's a new sheriff in town, and then all of a sudden rounding up a bunch of guys that have been stealing carrots out of the local gardens and stuff. So if they did that would be interesting. I know they didn't say that they're definitely going to have like an organizational thing, but if there's a way for certain people to volunteer for something like that, and to sort of grief the gankers, or so to speak, bring them to justice in some way, that'd be interesting to see.
So you're saying you'd want to see it as a player-driven sort of thing, not just like a supernatural, you've done bad, therefore bad things happen to you sort of thing.
Like a bounty
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, bounty. Yeah, because I seriously love the whole any kind of bounty hunter role myself, as far as in a game like SWG. That was fun. I played that, and I was a bounty hunter in that. So like that idea to me is cool. EVE Online had it, and they made it a little better after the first iteration of it. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting. And with this game, I mean, the way it is, if they had some sort of bounty system, they may be able to do it right with the way they're doing everything now in development. I just kind of get that vibe that maybe they would be able to do it. So I don't know. I think it'd be more interesting than Supernatural, because then it's kind of too much of the AI, not enough of the player interaction with that.
There's an interesting comment here from Denver Kenny saying, not sure about RP being set or managed by the game. So I can see how maybe it would be the sort of thing, if you've been killed by somebody, maybe there's a form that you fill out or some button that you press that triggers whether or not you want punishment and retribution upon that player, or whether you're okay with it and just move on, no harm, no foul. And that could either play into a supernatural karma system or more the kind of bounty karma system that you're talking about, where if you click punish, then somebody who comes across some evidence sees, oh, well, this is evidence that so-and-so killed so-and-so, therefore, I have the smoking gun that allows us to, go and take action, or just, some sort of note, the person's last message or whatever written in blood, that so and so shot me.
Yeah, the PlanetSat 2 already has something where it's a /report feature, and last person killed is the first thing you can do, as well as the fact that if you keep hitting teammates, keep shooting them, eventually your guns are locked for a few moments. So they kind of already have probably the base for the code already, and just need to figure out how they want to implement it, visually or to the player. So
gotcha.
And that's a pretty big point, though, is that we can take a lot of what we see in PlanetSide 2 and say, well, clearly they have the technology. What do we want to see that's cool in PlanetSide 2 that's adapted to H1Z1? That could be a fun exercise.
For sure. Yeah. So Skylatron.
I want parallax.
Oh yeah, I bet you do.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, actually the sniper rifle with infinite ammo with the heat system, just give me one of those. That's pretty awesome.
That sounds balanced. Yeah,
I got the phase shift too. Yeah.
Yep, fair and balanced. Okay. So Skylatron, I wanted to get your thoughts on the karma system, because we kind of passed it over to you a little bit, but didn't quite hear your full, I guess, thoughts and feelings on it.
Well, I too would prefer something that's like an in-game bounty system that's not the, supernatural style. But at the same time, I hope that it's not part of the base rule set. I'm perfectly cool with the way that they're going to be doing servers or, different server types like PvE ones or whatever it is that people vote on. But there's some things that I think probably shouldn't be, and that's the forced RP, like Denver Ken was saying. I think, if it's on a server and I have the choice to go and maybe make this part of the meta, then that's fine. But I don't think it should be a main feature.
Gotcha. Yeah, Remio, what you're talking about in Ultima Online is definitely more of like that supernatural system. If you're neutral and you kill somebody that's neutral, you become slightly bad. If you keep on doing stuff like that, or if you cannibalize somebody, things go worse and worse and worse, and you can get super evil, and you just kill on sight for the guards. And if you get near anywhere there's guards, people just call guards, and you get a halberd to the back of the head, and you lose your stuff. It definitely also had a really big problem that they still didn't have any proper way to mitigate if somebody actually went into that mode and became really bad and then wanted to do something about it later and get their reputation back up or actually do something in town. They had a spell for a little while where you could make yourself appear neutral, but people were just abusing it, so they had to remove it from the game. So I would definitely say, though, what you're talking about with Ultima Online is definitely a lot more of that, like, supernatural, you have done bad things, therefore the god of the server is punishing you, and you're only finding lighters in the next 50 crates, and that's it.
And that doesn't feel like it makes much sense to me in terms of the style of game that they're making. That's why Jane, about the bounty system makes a lot more sense. The billboards with wanted posters or whatever. That's why that makes more sense to me. And maybe if you kill them, you get a little something extra. But creating realism.
Or at least enough methods that players can know who killed them and be able to, go out on their own and make the wanted posters and the spread the word about, hunts on for so and so. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of false hunts. I'm sure, somebody will just start a new character, spot somebody, and then find the nearest civilization. Be like, so and so, they just killed me. See, look, I just came back with nothing. Please help me hunt them down. They totally stole my vehicle, my assault rifle, my shovel, my 20 pounds of carrots I was totally bringing here for you guys, my moonshine, my gasoline, my gold wristwatch that was a family heirloom, all.
That's
yes.
a big thing for stream sniping, though, too. They could say, hey, they could put out a bounty for you, Neuro, and get people to, if there's a benefit to killing someone with a bounty, then everybody would be after you. Stream sniping, to the next level, essentially.
Oh, that's fine.
It's terrifying.
They're all just going to be hunting me while I'm hunting somebody myself. I've got, pretty much everyone from Podcast Zero in the sites, Ko is a huge notch on the belt because even getting close to him seems like it'd be difficult. Geek Domo seems like that one's just going to be for fun. It's like, aha, I've done it with a bow. Now I've done it with my bare hands. Now I've done it, just all the different weapons. Try to, because
all the streamers fighting each other. That's totally awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I might not necessarily do it on stream. I might just record it and put up YouTube videos later.
Yeah.
You are being hunted. And I think that's another kind of fun thing, because I could actually potentially have the recording of the live stream or the audio from it going during the recording, and then when I finally kill the person, and hear, oh no, I was killed by Neuro Bunny. What the hell?
I mean, you always see the court system and all this. Oh yeah, but the bunny head.
Like Arcade?
I've been watching that here and there, and I kind of like it more and more people I see stream it. And they have courses. Of course, people are going to abuse it, like in real life, but it'll be more interesting. And should that be player driven, or should that be a preset sort of rule set? Maybe that could go in. It'll be called the justice rule set or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Now they also talked about the idea of karma being a rule set sort of thing, and that was actually specifically asked in the question. And I think it's definitely a valid point. I like the idea of people being able to have the option to play on a server where their actions will be kind of remembered, and they can potentially be, punished for it through, means that are beyond what the normal server would have available, versus servers where someone kills you. Yep, if you remembered their name, that's great. Otherwise, you really can't do anything about it. Because a lot of the bounty system you're talking about, it's really just dependent on kind of knowing who it was that killed you. So that could just be a simple thing for the server rule set, whether you get to know who killed you or whether you don't, whether you get to know who did assist damage on you or not, because that would basically be the kind of the bounty karma system fundamentally right there. And that'd be easy with PlanetSide 2 tech already being in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, and I see the AI in this game too is also carrying over. The stuff we're talking about the heat map and stuff. That idea is definitely. I totally think that's exactly the same code base, or at least structure that they're using for EverQuest Next. With all their orcs looking for gold and ganking people on the road, moving on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is Storybricks they're using in H1Z1. We keep on talking about this every week, and I'm pretty sure it's Storybricks. So
I just can't find anything that backs that up, and I really don't remember if they've said it. I'm pretty sure it's Storybricks too, but I don't remember if it's Storybricks. I mean, it's responsive AI, so that's something. I just don't remember if it's Storybricks exactly.
yeah, and I don't know if it necessarily even has to be Storybricks either, because Storybricks I feel is for really deep interactions, long story arcs between plots of various different characters intertwining, and various climaxes and stuff like that over the course of the storyline. I think more what we're going to see in H1Z1, like 24-hour memory is about all you're going to need. After about 24 hours, all of the events are pretty much, other than major feuds and rivalries, all events are pretty much forgiven, forgotten. Major heat zones have already moved. Where the major sites of resources are at have already moved and changed and shifted. So I don't know if it actually would need to be something of the scope and scale of Storybricks. Or, I mean, I kind of think that there's actually this Mordor game coming out where you play as the different characters, and there's rivalries that build up between them. If you are defeated by another person that you fought before, you fight them after having defeated them. There's different taunts and stuff they'll have back and forth, and it creates this really interesting story arc. But I don't see that happening. I don't see, Fred the zombie getting, particularly pissed off and like hunting me down in a pack because I shot him in the knee with an arrow and then didn't finish him off or whatever. It's like, oh no, his brains are mine.
I hope they're not that smart.
But
H1Z1,
H1Z1 Jane the zombie will remember, because a woman never forgets.
We still haven't seen a female zombie yet, have we?
I know. I can't wait. Now, I can't wait to see what and if they name her Jane, I'll be like, yeah, but whatever, But the thing is, it'd be interesting to see. I forgot why they said the female model is more difficult to create. I remember they said that.
No.
I think Shane said that.
It's actually not. What it is I believe it was Bill Yates is who they had the head scan for. So the first model they did was just a white dude with Bill Yates' head on it, and that was because that was just the fastest way to get from point A to point B. Female models, I would say, kick it back like 80 years. Yeah, they're definitely more difficult to do than males, specifically because at that time a lot of the art being done was nudes of men and depictions of males. So a lot of artists, especially animators, really weren't comfortable working on female characters. That was actually how Oob Iwerks actually got really big within the Disney circles, because he was one of the few classically trained artist animators who was able to handle the female characters just fine. Here in the future, though, we don't have any problem like that. Making a male is just as easy as making a female. It's just what parts, not caricature, but what parts you can kind of accentuate and build up in different ways.
Well, and it sucks because they're not. I don't want to get on a tangent about it. About females in gaming. And
It's a rant show. Go ahead.
I'm trying not to rant, but it's like they made a male zombie, and then immediately after that they made a male zombie, and I think that they could have made a male zombie and then made a female zombie and would have been okay, right? Like, I think that if you were placing a priority on it, you definitely could have done that, but they're not. And when are female avatars coming out, and all of this other stuff, and it's like, I don't know. No developer, and it's not just SOE, but it's like most developers are not placing any sort of importance on ensuring that we have equal representation.
Yeah, equal representation, absolutely.
Not a crazy feminist rant, but just it's true.
No, yeah. But that's the whole reason that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You do. Jane, go. Jane, go.
Go.
Okay, so yeah, that's the whole reason why I did H1Z1 Jane is because I saw someone had created the Bob and the Fred Twitter accounts. It was funny. They're going back and forth for a while. I thought, hey, why don't I do the female one and it'll be a joke? And it started off as going. I didn't know I was going to do this art and stuff. I didn't know I was going to be inspired to do fan art, but I was eventually. But the thing is, I did Jane because I'm like, I never play a female character in games. I'm always playing the guy because whatever. And I'm like, who cares? I'm just going to do something different. Let's see where this goes. And yeah, but I did it because there wasn't a Jane. There was a Bob and a Fred. So I'm just adding to your. Go ahead. That's coal to your fire. Keep your fire going.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Well,
equal representation.
It was something about something. I'm sure. Oh, the whole team, right? There's one female on the team who's an artist that's not marketing, because all of the females that they have on the team are marketing. It's like, not that I think that they should hire females just to hire females, because I don't think that that's what it is. But I mean, it's kind of they don't really have any other outside opinions, I guess.
It might also just not have been as appealing to the women who were asked about. Like, I'd imagine Rosie Rappaport's pretty happy working on EverQuest. She's been working on it since the first one. But they pretty much pulled people that already work at SOE and said, hey, we're looking to make this new game. And I'm not sure if at that point it was still possibly Sturm und Drang, the World War II sim that MMO that they were talking about, that kind of was potentially going to come before H1Z1 until they realized H1Z1 was the way to go. But they kind of asked of them, like, hey, everybody who's looking to be on this project. And I think it might have just been that the women who are working there are already happy on the projects they're working on. It's like, well, I could definitely see that. If I was working on EverQuest 1 or 2, I'm probably really happy working on EverQuest 1 or 2. I'm not going to say that the people that were on PlanetSide 2 were unhappy with it in any way, but I know there's a lot of people from PlanetSide 2 that moved over to the H1Z1 team. And maybe it was just because they wanted to kind of get on with the next iteration of what's going to go on with the non-voxel version of the ForgeLight engine.
Yeah.
And potentially be able to loop back with the advancements from H1Z1 and bring that back to PlanetSide 2, 6 months to a year from now. So that being said, I do agree with you. The lack of representation of females for H1Z1 is definitely odd, but knowing the history of the project and knowing how things have gotten to this point, it's not something that really necessarily bothers me. I will say though, there was a comment there in chat from Paputza that they're basically reusing the bodies, and that seems about right. Male body,
yeah.
It's just, I think the heads might be different on them, and that's really it. And then it's just a matter of differential animations for them.
Oh yeah, I get it. I'm certainly not mad, and I'm certainly not like holding it against Sony or H1Z1, because clearly I love this game already, and I love the team that's making it. But it would just be nice. That's all. It would just be nice.
Yeah, I mean that's what brings hope to the apocalypse. You got to have the men and the women. So.
How are you gonna make zombie babies?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Zombabies.
Yeah.
But the reusing the models though, was that reference to reusing the Planetside 2 models?
No, that the honestly the male playable character and both male zombies could potentially be the same body, just with different animations and different body deformation applied.
Hmm. But I was gonna say that we definitely have the female body in the Planetside 2. Of course, the Vanu female body is the best. Go
Well, of
Vanu,
course.
but
Well, I mean that booty.
yes, exactly. And I heard it was T-Ray's fault, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, of course it was. I mean, VS for life, that guy. Of course he's gonna accentuate.
Can't blame him, but anyway.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Romeo saying, I think that they worked on a first-person shooter helps H1Z1 a lot, because let's be realistic, there are a ton of FPS elements. Well, of course there's a ton of FPS elements. There's third person, but I think third person's more to help players with awareness.
And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but that's my least favorite view. The third person. I definitely prefer first person. That's the thing. I kind of wish they had it in the vehicle. I understand why, because you don't have a side and rear mirror. But I don't know. I'm really into the whole simulated, realistically sort of thing.
I think one of the things that is still kind of an issue with the game is you don't really have, while you're in a vehicle in, say, PlanetSide 2, you don't have anything internally telling you how much you're tilted in one direction or the other. So in first person, if the ground is tilted 5 degrees to the left, you're going to be driving straight and it's going to feel like flat ground, plus or minus. I think that sort of stuff is going to matter a lot more in H1Z1, being able to see what the terrain you're on is like relative to where you're going and what you're trying to do. Because unlike PlanetSide 2, it is a lot less forgiving with vehicles. You can't just go and spawn a nanite mobile, anywhere, everywhere, just, all willy-nilly. Vehicles are very, very uncommon in H1Z1, and to be able to own and maintain one is a privilege. It's not something that everybody gets to do. So, likewise, trying to guarantee that everybody is going to be driving it with maximum awareness, maybe not, front looking way in the distance awareness, but more of that kind of peripheral awareness and awareness of kind of their orientation relative to the rest of the world. It definitely helps to kind of almost force for third person for that. Though I would definitely like to have first person for some sorts of stuff, especially getting into machinima with H1Z1, because those videos of somebody driving through a pile of zombies and like stopping right before they hit their buddy and their buddy gets in, they keep driving through the pile of zombies. That sort of hilarious stuff is going to be really awesome to see.
Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of fun with the PlanetSide 2 engine, even before they made it to where you can take the HUD away. When it first came out, I made little videos and little montages and stuff. So
I remember
this engine's the same. This engine's the same, and it's going to be really really cool to see what people do, especially all the weather effects too. We got that in this game. It's going to be good.
Oh god, they're gorgeous. So
They
exciting.
are. Yeah.
And you guys have seen it firsthand. I haven't. Somebody needs to get me out there or something before it comes out.
The
The
rain.
game is
Go ahead.
it's so much more like it looks good on stream, right? It looks good in screenshots, but it looks so much better when you play it. It's gonna be amazing. I think people are gonna be blown away.
I'm pretty sure people are going to be blown away. I mean, the rain effect itself, it was a very convincing looking rain effect, and looking at the different levels of it, 50% still feels like a pretty heavy rainstorm, but then when you turn it up to 100%, that is just, you don't even seem like you're going to be able to stand in that amount of rain coming down. It's just absolutely torrential downpour at that point. It's awesome.
It sounds like Florida. Any rainstorm. For 15 minutes or 10 minutes, 5 minutes maybe. Okay, it's gone. So no one ever really has umbrellas, but it's no point.
Just don't go outside.
Normal rain clouds, it's kind of gently being squeezed out, but a Florida rain cloud, just squished.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Gotcha.
something popped and it's all out. We like to purge things fast here.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, the snow, haven't really gotten to see too much of the actual snow falling. I got to see it kind of start and accumulate in an area, and it accumulates really quickly, and then everything's black and white, basically.
I saw that a lot
Pretty
on the
cool
streets.
effect,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the streamers during SOE Live were stuck in just snow the entire time, and I was also finding issues with trying to tell, is it daytime or nighttime right now, because everything's black and white anyway, and the kind of lighting and adjustment that the character's eyes do, the sky looks just about the same one way or the other, so it was kind of hard to tell. It was just, I guess, how far I could see things in the distance in detail that was really the indicator.
Did you
I
guys see
hear
the
that's-
accumulation?
Sorry, say again?
Did you see the accumulation of snow? How was that? Did you see it like slowly, or did they just speed it up for you?
It might have been faster than the real game's going to be. It took, I think, about a minute to go from first snow falling to everything being completely covered in white. But there might also be ways to toggle the rate that it's actually being deposited, or the actual usage of it. If you've only got it set to 0.05, it's going to take a lot longer than being set to 1.0. I also don't know if it actually has more of a visual blocking, like that kind of blizzard screen of whiteness that you can't see through kind of effect. Because with the rain, you could at least kind of see through it a bit in the distance, but I don't know if I've seen snow and snowfall at its most awkward and difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that yet. I know that they're working on it, specifically how it looks and how the environment looks when there's snow. I know that they said that was being worked on, because you said it basically looks black and white. It's kind of drab. Cool effect, but I know that it's in progress. But so is everything else.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. It is most definitely a game that is still not yet ready for early access, as much as we want it to be. And we do. We really, really do. But it'll be here when it gets here, and then like a month later we'll all have forgotten that time we were waiting for the game. It's like, man, I remember like episode 15 of Dead Featurette. The game was totally not out yet. It just came back from SOE Live.
I'm gonna make
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna make little paper cutouts, and then I'm gonna stream me playing with the paper cutouts, and one's gonna be a zombie and one's gonna be a person. I'm just gonna pretend to play H1Z1.
Ooh, I want to play.
I've been doing that. I've been doing that with other games. Trying to get my fix or whatever. But it's not, now that I've seen what H1Z1 will be, is, and can be. It's hard. It's hard to do.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm having a really hard time, not just figuring out something to play personally, because I'm doing a terrible job at playing games right now, but even just to find something to stream. It's like, I don't wanna. Can I play H1Z1
Well,
now?
Yeah, I mean, you could play some like DayZ or something like that, but then you're not really playing the same engine. So in my mind, I guess I really could just play PlanetSide 2 and pretend like all the Terrans are zombies. Freaking Terrans. Anyway,
I thought about that.
Give yourself a little break from the survival zombie genre, and I would say everybody's a nanite zombie in PlanetSide 2 anyway, so you can't really go wrong there.
yeah, that's really true.
But
We're all the Walking Dead.
I gotta say, there's a lot of first-person shooters out there that are just fun to play, fun to stream. I was watching Jimmy Wisenhunt, who's of course I think the senior game designer on H1Z1. He was playing Minimum yesterday. I was playing it earlier today. It is awesome. It is a third-person, fast-paced, low graphics, really, 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 really fun FPS or third-person. I think there's first-person potentially, but mostly third-person. Kind of shooter, and it's just super, super fun. And then another game, I would say, if you're really just looking for a single player experience, Sir, You're Being Hunted. They're not zombies, they're robots, intelligent robots, and you are the prey. there's just you, and you've got to try to find your way to complete the tasks and get the hell off of there before you're hunted down and slain mercilessly by these robots. So,
Interesting.
Nice.
Is it more than one PlayStation worth, or is it like
oh yeah,
multiple hours long? Okay.
oh yeah.
You said it was or was not first person? Strictly hunted.
It is first person, 100%.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Check that out. Yeah, I played neither. Played or nether, however you want to say it. I played
Nether,
first
yeah.
DayZ. I like him well enough to play him here and there. You know, DayZ I like a little bit more because it's a little bit more involved. But man, it's good. It's good to find some other games. So
Yeah. If you're ever looking for games that are fun to play, just let me know, because I know of tons of them. Another one, just before we
Yeah.
get back on the subject, something that's a complete like sleeper game. The name sounds like a point and click adventure, but when I actually played it, oh my goodness, it was basically like playing a Michael Bay film, like just action and explosions everywhere. The game Marlowe Briggs and the Mask of Death. I
Haven't heard of
really
it at
have a
all.
lot of it's actually I think in a bundle right now for like $1. So real easy to find, real easy to get access to. It's from 505 Games, and like I said, just a real sleeper title. Super fun to play, super exciting to watch even. Um, just great. But anyway, let's move on here. It's a nice little kind of break in the talk here, but before we actually move on, was there anything else on Karma System, on KOS Deathmatch, on any of that sort of stuff that anybody had any other thoughts on?
No, I think I'm happy with my my established and unchanging position on this.
Okie dokie.
yeah.
All right.
Take a fun on that.
Cool. All right. Then let's move on. Carcass decay is something that they talked about. And that's a very interesting thing because it's got a lot of different factors to it. For one, it's the evidence that something was killed in the area. For another thing, it actually factors into the heat map that carcass is one of those things that animals and zombies are looking for. So if there's a corpse, whether or not it is a fresh one or it's been there for a little while, it's something that will be seen as a food source. It is something that will potentially attract heat. And if something that is hungry is nearby and catches a whiff of it, be it a wolf or a raven or a bear, it's probably gonna come over and look to get a bite. So that's not only kind of talking once again about the KOS deathmatch thing, that corpses are going to be something that's adding heat and preventing people from really being near a big old pile of corpses for too long. But they also said that it's going to be having potentially a deformation process, that they'll be able to use the same systems that they use on zombies and other things that are being damaged and decomposing, that shows that it's worn down, it's been there, it's dead for a while, the flesh is really starting to get all nasty and rotten. Or you can also kind of see from it, oh, there's no flies buzzing around, the meat still looks all nice and fresh and red. So you randomly come across a bear that whoever just hunted it got snuck by something and got killed. So there's a free bear to just cut up the meat and get a bite, compared to coming to a bear a week later or a couple days later. Whatever's left, it's probably not too safe to use. So what are your thoughts on the carcass decay system, the corpse decay system, and what its effects are going to be on player interactions with the world, animal interactions with this world, zombie interactions with the world? And keep in mind, of course, this is all corpses: player corpses, zombie corpses, and animal corpses.
I'm
But
interested to find out how it works with player corpses, especially if, we'll probably if a ton at launch, which there will be, they're not going to be able to spread us around the map, a ton, right? There's still going to be a lot of people on the maps. So if we have a big death match, or something. And there's a lot of corpses. Not only what are its effects on wildlife and stuff, but what are its effects on the server? How long do those corpses stay there for? How many layers of decay does it go through? And does that mean that player corpses are possibly not going to do the turn into zombie thing anymore? Have they completely written that off?
Well,
uh,
I think the turn into zombie thing only happens if you're killed by a zombie or a zombie accesses
Right.
your corpse after you're dead. So that will probably still be a factor. But in terms of what happens with the player corpses when there's a big kill fest in an area, you're probably right that there's different layers and different levels of decomposition, and there's probably also different active and passive levels of what's causing decomposition. If you're a corpse in a swamp, I would imagine you're going to start decomposing almost immediately. If you're somewhere out on a dry rock that nothing's really getting to and animals really don't go by very frequently, it might be a very slow decomposition process where the body's there for 2-3 weeks before it's fully picked clean. And it's just
Yeah.
insects at that point, insects and
Like,
bacteria.
how sophisticated is this actually, or is it? Because they showed a couple of screenshots, didn't they? In the past, where it's like a corpse and then a bit of a decay, or at least they showed a corpse with ravens around it, because that's a thing that happens. I think it's really cool in that it adds another layer, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm just concerned about how sophisticated it is right now,
And I
and if
guess,
it's necessary.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. If it really needs to be that sophisticated, I think it's good if it is. That it can potentially be something where you see, oh crap, there's this decomposing corpse here. I'm in a bad place. I know there's stuff around. I need to get the hell out of here. It could be, a really good way to have tells, or otherwise, if you come across a deer that was just freshly killed with a bow and arrow, you can imagine the person that killed it is probably still nearby. They might be aiming at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has an interesting dynamic with all that. I mean, to add to it, it reminds me of when I talked to Matt Broom on one of the streams. He answered one of my questions. It was a question and answer thing, and he said, I was asking about burning. If someone catches on fire, does it stay burned, or how do you handle that? And he talked about how they didn't want to have things that are going to hurt the server too much. So this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. That they in the video we saw, he was mentioning how they have different stages and they visually look different. So I guess it's not so much a quick change, but over time, it gets to a certain time and then it changes. There's probably not a lot of teeny little visual changes that they layer, but maybe that's what I would imagine. It's not too many things happening very fast because it's a slow process. It also leads me to think about something that you have to do when you're trying to get realistic with the gore, with the fan art I've been doing. The things I had to research, the things that I had to see and it can't be unseen. My goodness, I tell you, I don't.
Oh, that
I
doesn't
don't
sound
know.
fun.
No, it's specifically Cycles McHurst, right? Tom Schenk.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, for his skin and his, the fat underneath, you could see on his face. I had to see some stuff and read about this. Some of these sites, they tell you the stories of the people, and it's just like, oh my
Are you a
gosh,
changed
man. Yeah, it's not like I haven't seen the gory stuff before, but when you have to look at it for so long in that detail and dwell upon what do people look like when they're rotting, but yet they're alive, it's like, yeah, what parts of their body are decomposing? What parts are, okay because the virus enables it? Or are they really dead? Is it just really just a mutation maybe? Or, the classic zombie versus the scientific version of the explanation maybe, or, what have you.
The
But
supernatural
you see
versus
a lot of
scientific.
Yeah, you see a lot of medical pictures. You see a lot of autopsy pictures, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do. And that one you mentioned about the person in the water being faster, yes, and that's not pretty.
Nope, they blow it up.
Oh, they look
You're
like
so dedicated. Ugh.
they don't look like a human being. They in some way, yeah, but I don't want to get into detail too much. I mean, it is the dead rant, but let's just say people can Google it, and I would not. Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to see that on your worst enemy. I'm just saying it's horrible. It's just I don't know how realistic they're gonna get, but my goodness, it's worse than a boomer. If you know from Left 4 Dead, it's not that kind of. That guy was just fat, right? But anyway.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Animals too. Animals. I've seen turtles like that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's pretty gross. Yeah, but that's definitely stuff to keep in mind, and yeah, I think that could also be something that applies. How decomposed they are before a zombie gets to them could also be a factor in what kind of zombie comes out of it, and how kind of tough and how powerful they come out of it.
Oh yeah.
So that's definitely an interesting kind of potential factor for it. But I definitely wonder what is too much for the deformation, and how much the deformation system really impacts anything. Like I can think of seeing the old like in the newspaper when I was a kid, the article about the making of Shrek, and how the character was actually built up starting with a skeleton, then the organs and the muscles, and then the skin is actually put over that. And I always thought, well, that's awesome, because if at any time they want to put Shrek in some sort of like a fighting game or whatever, and he gets cut in half, you've got all the stuff there, so you could, have a really fucked up cross section when he gets cut up.
Shrek Extreme. Yes, that'd be awesome.
Like I don't know if they've got that much actually built into the models. I'm sure that much went into the actual, research of developing the anatomical structures of the characters themselves. But then again, that's also, thousands of years of art history going into that. It's not like, someone had to get manually taken apart and inspected for that sort of thing. So
we're gonna need a corpse.
Yeah, we're gonna need a cadaver here. Yes.
Yeah, what Original said in the chat there. Yeah, about the water corpses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hand it to anyone who works in the medical profession or deals with trauma. It just, oh my goodness, hey guys, you're awesome. Keep up the good work. I'm glad you guys have the ability to handle that. I don't know. For me, even though I like gory movies, that's the thing. I like zombies. I'm doing zombie art, whatever, man. But there's a line that's kind of weird. That's something you can explore in this type of game.
Contained to fantasy, like movies.
It's like
games.
Yeah, I don't really go, ooh, let me see these people that got in an accident or something. It's more like, no, it's just there's a difference. There's a line, and people have definitely, we'll see that in all those type of media anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff I can't unsee from the first aid book that I from a class I took in college, and yeah, we didn't even go through the entire book, and man, there was some graphic stuff in there. So yeah, humans are gross when they're all screwed up like that.
Yeah,
we're nasty.
I guess if we had clear skin, then we wouldn't be so freaked out by it. But we don't. So
that's true. We just have this nice layer, so we can't see the nastiness that's underneath.
Yeah.
Of course, if that's what we were seeing, we'd be like, I can see your muscles. That's so sexy. And everybody would be all like, yeah, never mind. Talking about weird, bizarro, invisible skin world. Anyway, so we have definitely strayed from the subject of carcass decay. But if there is anything else either of you had to say about the subject, now is the time. Otherwise, we move on.
I don't know if I want to talk about carcass decay anymore.
Okay.
No, it's just okay. Just like as a final, like for me, okay. How sophisticated is it, right? And if it's not, is there a point to it being there? I guess that's my only feeling about it. The end.
I gotcha. It kind of looking into whether it's almost superfluous or if it's just kind of a flavor sort of thing that could potentially, the efficiency could go elsewhere. I can agree with you there. That's definitely a valid concern. And with that in mind, I'm really hoping that they do have some really intricate ideas for what and how the system's going to work. If I come across, a recently slain animal, if I recently killed an animal and I come over and I dump 5 bags of salt from my inventory because I'm just trying to get rid of salt on it, or cut it up first and then salt it up, is that am I going to be able to have it stay longer? Or if I just killed something and dump a bunch of salt on it, is it going to preserve for slightly longer if I have to kill something first and then come back and start cutting it up? And I think that's going to be another thing. I think one of the big thing with the decomposition is to let you know, hey, that meat's safe, or hey, that meat's questionable, so you can make the decision as a player, or potentially not.
Hunters, I could see it play very well for people who really want to be full-fledged hunters. How long has that animal or that person been dead, and what should I do about it? Should I go over here to find the bear or the deer or whatever? Should I go over here?
Yeah.
Based on that, yeah.
Of course, if I can load a catapult with a rotten corpse of a bear or something and fling that over the wall, like, that's got to be the most disgusting thing to freak out a bunch of people in their camp. It's like, bear corpse!
Oh, yeah, no. Especially if it's hairless, right?
Yeah, those hairless bears, my goodness. That was last week. Anybody look it up, hairless bears, they look freaky.
Terrifying.
Yes.
That is scarier than a real bear.
Yes.
Yeah. You're like, what the heck is that thing? It's not even
nightmare fuel right there, yeah.
It doesn't look fluffy anymore,
No. Definitely puts into terms what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So, the question was asked of Mitch Evans, what's the challenging part of your job? And his answer was the efficiency for the server and keeping usage of the CPU low. So that's kind of going back. He's a server-side code, AI, and gameplay programming person. So yes, he's working on the server-side code and trying to keep things efficient from that angle. But I would say another part of his job is also looking at how AI links back with the server, and how the things that the players are doing are linking back with the server, and how the inventory system is linking back with the server, and making sure that everything there is running as efficiently as possible. Does that variable that comes up 2,000 times really need to be a full 8 bits? Can we do it with 4 bits? Can we do it with 2 bits? Can we do it with 1 bit? Can it just be a binary decision? And that sort of stuff, on the little micro changes here and there really does affect the macro scale of the game, the entire efficiency of everything and every player and every AI entity all running, in the same area at the same time, plus having to deal with the unpredictability that players can go wherever they want and do whatever they want. It's not just a dynamic world controlled by the computer world, or by the servers or whatever. So that being said, they came into it with a bit of an advantage because it's already got the optimization of PlanetSide 2 that they're just kind of piggybacking on.
Yeah.
It's kind of a technical thing to talk about, so I don't really know what question to ask of you two or anything, but I guess if you got something to say, go for it.
Yeah, I got something to say. It hits on what I do, or what I've done in the past 3 years, systems engineer type positions. And I bet you, in their server, they log in and they type the command top tech, aka dash, C, top space tech C, because I'm sure it's Linux, and I'm sure that's, if they don't type that, they've got a tool that does it for them. But they're looking at the top things that are running within there, and they're this aspect, even though I'm an artist and I do the art side of things, I can definitely understand this, why it matters. Because, you got some crazy guy that's on your server just running something stupid and he doesn't need to. Okay, now put that into game design. You got some crazy script that they just added that's infinitely looping and continuously, iteratively increasing the load on the server. And you're like, what the heck is the utilization going up so high for? And you look at it and you're like, What's the top process? You're like, oh, you son of a gun. Hey guys, don't do that anymore. And then, and I'm sure they don't want to do that. They don't want to promise something that's a cool feature that all of a sudden now, we couldn't really do that. Sorry guys. It just, if you guys want the game now, we can't really do that. It's going to take a while to figure it out. I can understand that. So that's my little insight of, I haven't done game development, but I have done things that are definitely touching on some of what they deal with, especially, what Mitch is doing. So.
And
Okay.
Tom Shank tweeted out, or he might have branded it, a screenshot of their server load stuff this week that was like, and then they had to do things,
yeah?
and then it went. Yeah, it was actually really cool. It was on the
missed
Reddit.
that.
If you go through the dev tracker, it's in there somewhere, like
check it out.
yesterday or something. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's cool, and obviously we know they're looking at it. Obviously, we know that this is something that they care about, and it's just exciting that they're even talking about it, I guess, so that we can know that this is an important thing to them. I love how open they are with their development process, even if it's server load stuff, right? Like even if it's little stuff, I really like it.
That's the thing. Like, I liked SOE with the first EverQuest, and I played the second one, and then of course Star Wars Galaxies. I got everything, put all that stuff, all the things, and then that was cool and everything. But after Star Wars Galaxies, like, I didn't play any SOE games. But then PlanetSat 2, man, they started like connecting with the community and let us know ins and outs of everything. And they had a process, and they're creating this new thing, got this new engine, and it's cool. It's first-person shooter, MMO. I'm like, yeah, it's got everything I like. It's sci-fi. It's, pew-pew laser beams. I get to play, because I played PlanetSat 1, too, the beta and everything. So I was excited. And then, dang, man, PlanetSat 2, new stuff. And but that the whole process that they went through is now allowed them to birth H1Z1, and I'm excited the fact that, it's not out yet, okay, but I first heard about it really at the first couple months of this year, so it's not that long. But I think it'll happen faster, but simply because, like you said, Nero, they got a lot of the work done with PlanetSat 2. And that big, when they did that overhaul, the make faster game thing, I bought a new video card like right before that, and that helped. But then when you did that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I got next, like the newest video card or whatever, $600 one or something, So they did a good job with that. So that's why I'm very positive, technically, about what they're doing with this one.
Yeah,
I'm ranting.
It was also a lot of the people that worked on PlanetSide 2 that have come over to H1Z1. So like I said, they're just kind of continuing from what they were working on before. But while I feel like PlanetSide 2 is bogged down with a lot of balancing and kind of catching up to getting in the content they've already got in the game, H1Z1 seems like it's the place where the burgeoning new FPS efficiency technology and stuff is really coming through. They're really starting to do stuff that they hadn't tried even with PlanetSide 2 because it wasn't an issue, like being able to build bases and deal with the efficiency and the server load with that, and actually being able to modify the terrain. There is 0 places in PlanetSide 2 where the player can affect the terrain dynamically. ZERO. Of course, the opposite with Landmark, 100% of the game world can be modified by players. So it's a little bit different. We're kind of seeing not necessarily a meeting of the two because there's no voxels in H1Z1, but the fact that we're actually starting to see the Forgelight engine not with voxels, but with a world that is open to areas of deformation and players being able to build up their own structures. That excites me for PlanetSide 2 because they said they do want to eventually have player-owned, player-made bases. I feel like going back to 2012, that was the plan for Osher, was that it would be a throwback continent, but we also kind of build up our own bases. Or maybe I'm getting it confused between 2 different continents, but they definitely said they wanted to have players being able to build their bases at some point. So this is definitely technology that's going to loop back to PlanetSide 2 at some point. But yeah, I think the biggest technological developments with the non-Forge Light or non-voxel side of the Forge Light engine is going on in H1Z1, and it's still, keep in mind Sturm und Drang, the World War II MMO shooter that they were talking about at SOE Live. It's still something they want to do, and they're probably going to do it after H1Z1, and I'm pretty sure Smedley's going to be really big on that, potentially leading the charge as well if he isn't still doing the H1Z1 stuff. So this is not only, for their current games now, the efficiency and making things run as best as possible and doing what they can to work with their technology and improve it in every factor on every project. But, in the future, the other projects that we're going to be seeing, this, I'm sure we're going to be seeing more shooters down the road on the Forge Light engine. I'm sure we're going to see, likewise with Landmark. I don't think EverQuest Next is the only RPG that's going to be spawned off of it. I'm kind of hoping the next one off of it's totally sci-fi, because that's kind of what I thought H1Z1 was going to be before it was revealed that it was a zombie survival sim. Or zombie survival.
Me too.
Yeah. No, Jane, no. No, we lost Jane.
What? Come back. Yes, I thought. Yeah, everybody thought they were gonna do a sci-fi thing. Smedley had like a line of something about a sci-fi game at the keynote at SOE Live, the H1Z1 keynote. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
He said something about a sci-fi game for like 3 seconds, and everybody was like, "Wait, did he just say something about a sci-fi game? Wait a second." So I hope they do come out with one, and I hope that it's based off of this same engine that Landmark and Next are on.
Jane, your
I would
camera.
be fine if it weren't, but yeah, Jane
Your
is
camera cut
not
out.
a human right now.
Oh, well, shoot. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey.
Welcome back. Nope, not welcome back.
Yeah.
It's still loading. There we go.
There you are. There you are.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
We missed you.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. He did have a comment. There was that, but then even going back further than that, he had shown the picture of I think it was right when he showed that first picture of that first house that he was trolling us with, and he was saying, this is a game that we want Star Wars Galaxies fans to be able to come back to and say, this is my new home. What he was looking at, though, was specifically the go out in an untamed world, build up your home and fortify it, make your little place in the world. That's, I think, the aspect that he was looking for. When I heard that, was like, oh man, you mean there's going to be like a procedural dynamic resource system, so like every week there's a new material that's been added to the world, and there are totally some things that are better than building than the others, and oh man, I totally loved that. That was one of the best things from Star Wars Galaxies. And then when H1Z1 came along, it's like, well, it's not what I was expecting, but...
And you and a million other people, seriously. I know so many people who were disappointed by the fact that he said the magic words. He said Star Wars Galaxies, and then it was a zombie game. I'm super excited for it either way, but I'd also be excited for a sci-fi game. Really excited.
Right. I mean, it's...
And we lost Jane again.
Yeah. We
Oh, hey.
Yeah, your camera and everything cut out there again. your interwebs.
Was it just...
It's got the
just you.
stage 2 infection. Your internet connection.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It can
Yeah, but
smell your heat.
all the things that Smedley said about the different games in the past. I remember he mentioned something with PlanetSide 2. What if we had? There was like, it was one of his blogs, right? He had a blog going, and one of the things on there was something about AI. Like, what if we had AI that you could program yourself in PlanetSide 2, and like little robots that run around and do things. I was like, yeah, awesome. And so many people I talked to were like, oh no, that's not fun. Or he was talking about AI in that engine, right? And so it's kind of, I guess, sort of a foreshadowing of what we're seeing in H1Z1. We're not programming the zombies; they are, but we're seeing AI introduced in the same engine. So
Yeah, and I think of, well, if you add AI little entities to PlanetSide 2 to help you out, you might as well add BFRs back in and call it Titanfall Side.
Yeah.
which I think would be funny. But yeah, what a Rudnell had to say there. Smedley. Now, John Smedley is a pioneer in the industry. You know, he's the CEO of SOE for a reason, but he definitely does have a track record of saying things that, you know, really hype us up and really get us excited for a project, and then it doesn't come through, or it comes through in a way that we're totally not expecting. And I'm wondering if it's one of those things, like, I'm sure it's happened to everybody. You have this idea in your head and you think, like, this is the greatest idea and I've got the best way to explain it, and you go out there and do it, and then when the thing actually happens that you were explaining, it's totally different than what everybody was expecting. And afterwards they kind of pick it apart. It's like, I can see where you were coming from when you said those things, but
always a but at the end of that when you're talking about Smedley.
yeah, but he's
great.
Yeah, no, he's.
I like his passion. Yeah, seriously. I totally, when he gets all riled up about something, wants to explain it, I'm all like, yeah, man, it's a cool idea. He does have a lot of cool ideas, so definitely respect that. But yeah.
Well, I mean,
if you're watching, we love you, man.
Well, that's the thing. He's a gamer just like us. There's no amount of, like, you know, corporate suit sitting at the top is like, oh yes, I'm going to manage these people and you know, make sure that my margins are tight and my, you know, this and that. No, he's focused on the games. He wants to make sure the games are good and that we, the community, are enjoying them. And, you know, that's just as important as the games actually having market viability. They're really great people working on the game, so the market viability is just as much, you know, the people working on it being able to make it an awesome game as the ideas themselves. But you know, it's something where we definitely have seen Smedley over many years say a lot of interesting things, and whether or not they're true, they definitely do a good job of getting the fans excited and getting our attention on the product, even if it's totally not what we're, you know, actually going to be seeing, or, you know, going to kind of think that we're going to see at that point. Skylatron, you've got a big old smile on your face.
No, he's just, yes, it ignites passion, and it also ignites the craziest rage I have ever seen. Like, I know people who are like, I just hear the name Smedley and my blood boils, and I'm like, oh my god, this is from however many years ago. And it's like, oh, this is so funny.
Oh man, I say just look at the positive things. You know, I know a lot of people talk about SWG and everything, but man, we had a lot of fun in that. You know, and it shows that they can do a lot of good things with gaming. I mean, we know that EverQuest, PlanetSide, you know, so you know. So H1Z1, dude, you know, they're hitting the zombies. They're putting a lot of things together that they've been planning and working on, and, you know, the new engine and everything. So, yeah.
It's the right game at the right time from the right people, really. There's only one other game I can think of that's trying to have this level of kind of ambitious interaction, beyond what we've already seen from like DayZ and Rust and those kinds of games. And that's Robotoki's Human Element, but that's not even going to be coming out until the end of next year, which is, I think, not going to be necessarily too late and missing the zombie survival MMO demographic, but more that they're going to be coming in as an underdog, because SOE is already going to have, you know, top-notch AAA, free-to-play, you know, secure, stable servers where you're not going to get your stuff hacked. Signs are in English, so you can find your way around. You know, it's everything about H1Z1 is really the right stuff at the right time. The gaming demographic is just absolutely prepped for it right now. It is just primed for it. So it's just a matter of following through and being the ones that make the game happen. So I'm really excited for that. Sony Shock, oh my goodness. Steve George, How you doing, buddy? Everybody, definitely give him a follow if you don't already. I can't imagine anybody in here doesn't, but he streams H1Z1, so you can catch him broadcasting that, and then that and his his show with Mini Shock, you'll be able to catch here and there. All
Those are
sorts.
fantastic.
So entertaining. And I'm a mod in his channel too. So yeah, if you ever need the green sword swung at somebody while you're there, just let me know.
Power.
Sony Shock. Yeah. So, anyway, now that we're done talking about, I think we're done talking and ready to move on to the next subject. Anything else about the efficiency, that server efficiency question, or I guess it was the hardest part of your job question, rather, to Mitch Evans? And I guess anything else you had to say about Smedley while he's still kind of a hot subject here. Otherwise, we can move it along to the heat map stuff. All right. No, Sony Shock, stop sending him zombie dick pics. No. Don't send them to
you
Jane.
should continue to send it. We need zombie boob pics. Come on now.
Jane, I put that responsibility on you. Come up with something.
Oh man, I get caught in the middle of all this stuff.
Yeah, Renell. I could definitely see people calling him Hayshaker. In fact, honestly, now that you've established the character, if you just come to SOE Live pretty much as yourself playing Hayshaker, you pretty much win the costume contest, I think, or at least you're going to be a finalist.
I've created myself the position, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like you're creating your
this
your
is
own
all
position.
your fault, actually.
Yeah. All I had to do is put the blue contacts in because I gave him blue eyes just to make him a little different. Yeah, but
that's awesome. It's like every DCUO player's dream. It's like, okay, I'm gonna make some art and stuff for my character, and then I'm gonna go and dress as my character and like be in the costume contest, or not even DC, like any comic book fan or whatever that made up their own character. It's like you've done it.
Honestly, you know what's funny is that almost every Halloween I do come up with my own character, and people are like, "What are you?" I'm like, "Well, here's my character sheet." You know what I mean? I'm pretty much telling my whole history and all this kind of stuff. So I get crazy creative like that sometimes. So it would be fitting for the kind of things that I like to do as a hobby anyway. So I just need to learn how to talk like Hayshaker. I gotta talk like a country accent, or a little bit more like a trucker. I can talk about
I think you need a little bit more of the gruff, scary voice going.
Give me a little bit of Marlboro and a PBR, I'm all right.
There you go, getting a little bit better there. You've definitely you've got plenty of time to work on it, and I know your ability to consume lots and lots of maybe less than comfortable media material for a piece of art that you're working on. So there's definitely a lot of stuff out there where you can really practice that accent.
Oh yeah. I've got relatives that definitely have the accent. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, the heat map. Now, that was one of the more interesting, everything from the little 4-minute video there was interesting. And if either of you have the link handy there, definitely put it in the chat there again in case anybody missed it. But from the little interview thing with Mitch Evans, the dev blog, the last question that was asked was about the heat map. And it's basically, from what I understand, it's an accumulation of events. And there's different classes of events too. So an explosion has a different kind of heat signature than a corpse falling, and that has a different heat signature than, somebody banging on a car with a wood axe or whatever to try to get scraps off of it. So, as Skylatron beat him again. So that's something that I think is really awesome, and kind of this accumulation of the geolocations for these different events is essentially what becomes the heat map. It's used to really direct all of the interactions of the zombies, of the wildlife, and it's going to potentially, when you've got the the H1Z1 virus, you might actually be able to visibly see what's going on with the heat maps and be able to kind of tap into that yourself. Because we've already seen some of that, like smell-o-vision effect with the infection levels. So that's something else we could potentially see. I think that'd be great. And they're saying, like, the heat map, not just where things are going to go or where they're already at, but there's also other factors to it, like potentially an area where there's more items. There might be more zombies in that area, so there's kind of this baseline heat just from things that are milling around in the area already. Because things, even if there's no player on the server, there's still heat events being generated. The server could run on its own, and we could just be in observer cam mode, and I'm sure it'd still be entertaining, just not quite as interactive. So
Just watch zombies walk around. That's what
yeah.
we do.
Well, I mean,
That's the server rule set now.
honestly, that is one server rule set I really would like to see, is just one server where you just log in as observer, and all you get to do is watch what the zombies and what the wildlife are doing in the world. Yeah. Sunny and
24/7 stream.
sunny and pouring rain down. That is awesome. I think it's like 107 degrees in the valley just over the hill for me right now, so yeah. Yeah, things are hot. But anyway, on the subject of heat map, not physical heat in the real world. So what are some of the things that you're excited for with the heat system, or things that you're still not maybe understanding about it, or want to get a little bit more detail about? Skylatron.
Hi. Okay. Yeah, because you said that everything about this video was exciting, and that's actually really true. Everything that they talked about is really fun. So it's like I keep going, oh, this is really cool. Oh, this is really cool. But everything's really cool. So the heat map is very cool. I like that because we talked about AI earlier. I like that the AI is actually going to be reacting to player events. I like that our spawn points are sort of based off of some of this organically flows forever, or like if 10 people die in an area, how long does it take the heat to dissipate from that? So I would like some more information on that, but aside from that, I think that the heat map is going to be really fun.
Is there any way I could
also-
get you to say like the first half of that again, because it totally, like, your interweb started cutting out and
I thought it was
I
me.
have no idea what I said.
And go. Do it again. Take
I
two.
don't know what I said. Sometimes I just say words
We
and I
don't
don't know what
either.
words come out of my mouth.
I'm sorry, but we don't know what you said either.
Then we're on the same
I
page.
guess kind of summarize what you were trying to say there then.
I think that it's really cool. I would like to know how long it takes for heat from an event to dissipate. That's what I want to know. Yeah, I'm interested in the tech behind it because I think that it's a really fun idea, but I'd like to know, like, did you hear? Like, if you kill 10 people in one spot and that generates a lot of heat, then what happens and how long does it take for whatever to happen, I guess. So if they could eventually provide more information about how that works, I'd like to know.
That is a really, really good question.
Yeah, I would assume it's smell and sound. Those two things, if it doesn't see you, like the zombie or whatever, it's how what you're doing. The sound the dead bodies would be smell. The sound would be all the noises you make. So it's a combination of the two. Yeah, and what does it do? And playing as a zombie, for me, the interesting thing with all this is like you're not playing as a zombie necessarily, but you have the infection, right? Level 2, level 3, whatever. But then you have some type of medicine, from what I understand, or something that can make it go away or dissipate the effects or bring it down another level over time. So if that's the case, I could definitely see this as a gaming mechanic that somebody could take advantage of, and you can give them a term, not tweakers, but maybe something you know, virus surfers, something like that, where you've got this medicine, this slow supply of medicine that you find or make or something, but you allow the infection to go to a certain point and you bring it back. You allow it to go to a certain point because you're just trying to survive and hunt other people and all that kind of thing. So I could definitely see it being. It's like being a Predator. If you ever played Alien versus Predator, the game online. Yeah, I love the crap out of all those games, but being the Predator was fun because you had all those different visions you could have.
Yeah.
Different from the human spectrum, and it's a different play style. So then being infected may give you a different play style with whatever you're trying to do, and that's interesting. The only thing I'm unclear about is with heat maps is do you play? I mean, do you play as a zombie, and if you do play as a full-fledged zombie, how much control do you have, and how much better is it, and what are the downside of everything? Downsides of being a zombie if you are a full-fledged controlled zombie that you can run around as a zombie. I did see a question. I think it was Shank. I think it was Cycles McHurst about the what would how would we feel about there being a downside to having more abilities? Almost like having more mutant powers, but there's a downside kind of thing. Someone was tweeting that out, was asking that. So.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was thinking like you run through food and water quicker, your stamina doesn't regenerate as fast, or maybe you can only be satiated to 50% and then later 25%. So your ability to do things might start to get really restricted, and the amount of time between having to stop and help and recover and all might be a lot shorter time between actions before you've got to stop and kind of take care of things. But the trade-off being that you can pretty much tell where things are, where things have been, where they're going, and be able to track them based on that, because that's a huge advantage. I mean, there's a lot to the game, but being able to track living things is a pretty huge advantage, especially at night in the darkness. And I'm wondering if there'll be other things like night vision and stuff like that will start to build up, or any other sorts of things for the virus effects actually starting to accumulate. So that's definitely a really interesting point, and I'm really interested in seeing how I guess how as a zombie player and with the different levels of infection you would actually be able to I guess utilize the heat map itself and be able to, not necessarily bring it up, press M for the heat map sort of map, but being able to see in the distance, more things happened in that area a while ago, or
Yeah.
I can catch the whiff of some rotting corpse down this way, and I don't know, maybe there could be other things that if you're far enough with the infection, you can just eat anything, and it's not really going to matter. You just eat rotten flesh or whatever.
Yeah, this reminds me of some little idea I have for a game of, it would be the ultimate thing to play as an animal in a forest. 20 different animals, you can pick one, and then you use, smell, and it'd be a visual cue on the screen. Hey, my little ideas or thoughts about that a long time ago, we got something like that happening now, it seems like. So, yeah, it was interesting. Sonny Shock was saying something about the wind in chat there, the wind and scent, how that's going to change things with how that heat map works. So wind will come into play, realistically with scent. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
He's saying
definitely,
other cool things. Yeah,
and that's really awesome too. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that things could go. It could be instead of a heat sense, it could be more of an electromagnetism sense that you can see, not only kind of living things different ways than trees or the terrain, but also having a special sense to be able to see when cars are running or machinery is being used far in the distance and being able to hone in on it. That could also be another way to do it. Very, very kind of limited vision until you get close enough to sense the the electromagnetism of something. Then when you're close enough, that's kind of the thing you're going to hone in on. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, and then also how that'll loop back with the actual AI of the zombies. If it's something that a player can be designed to have as their zombie interaction, then surely the in-game zombies are going to be acting in that same way. There might even be variations on the virus where there's a an A version, a B version, a C version, and those potentially lead to different versions of the zombies and different versions of the zombie effects being provided. Potentially having the A and the B will cause them to kind of compete with each other in your system, that you don't get the full effects of both of them, but at the same time you also don't get the full negative effects of both of them. A lot of different things that could be done with that.
Yeah.
I wonder if that counts as their vertical slice that they're trying to give us in the early access, or not early access. What am I talking about? In the beta.
No, early access.
What am I even talking about? Or if that's going to be a release feature. Or something like that.
I think the very first versions of it will be a part for the vertical slice for early access, but there's a good chance that between then and release, a lot of pretty much every system will be expanded upon. I mean, I look at Landmark again for this, where Landmark has come since January, and what we've been able to help influence, and where we've been able to help the team prioritize what they're working on and what they're focusing on. Same thing's going to happen with H1Z1. So as long as we keep giving reasonable feedback, we'll be able to help influence where things go and how things go and what happens with the game. Obviously, the folks working on H1Z1 are a bunch of smart folks. They've worked on games before. They know what they're doing, and I'm not just saying that because Sony Shock is in here, but it's one of those things that they could make a good game without us, but with us, we're working together to make the game that everybody wants. So I'm really, really excited for that. That's just been a really, really kind of exciting thing with this, with EverQuest Next, Landmark. It's been with PlanetSide 2 up to this point. We've been, really important in helping develop that stuff, and that's the stuff that I'm really, really excited for going forward with the project here. Sony. I'll be your proofreader. Just send me all of the secret documents, and I'll sign an NDA or something.
That sounds. He's trying to trick you. Don't listen to him.
Technically, I think I'm under no less than 10 different NDAs from SOE from the various different events I've attended the past couple of years. So
right, and going to the studio and stuff. I bet there's probably something too.
Yeah, NDAs there, NDAs just all around. Yeah.
All I've done is independent contracting for Player Studio, so I'm okay. I can do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've also got Player Studio going. That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So was there anything else on the Heat stuff that either of you wanted to talk about at all? Any questions about it? Anything that you're really hoping that we see as a system with it? Anything? No? Well, it sounds like we could...
I just hope that they do give us more meat on it, as we get closer. Because they've given us a lot of details about other systems, so I would just like to see a bit more about this.
Yeah, expect if any kind of heat system is an EA for players to use, which seems like it will be. I don't know if that version's coming out to us when EA comes out, early access comes out. I think I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what that is, and I think if we use it, they're going to see how we behave and how we act and what we like about it. I think they definitely want the masses to have it to be in their hand before they actually get the feedback that they believe is going to be 100%, accurate feedback.
Right.
Because right now we could talk about whatever we want, but we have no idea.
Yeah, and basing everything on what we've been able to play up to this point. Like, the first time I played the game, it was still 15 years after the zombie apocalypse, and there were rusted out cars in all the intersections. So, the game is constantly changing is the other thing. I think early access will be a point where things have kind of solidified for what the game actually is and what it's going to be going forward. But right now, if they decided that they wanted to change the timing of when the events occurred, they could just do that and it wouldn't be an issue. They could even do that with the next Survivor Radio. I understand there is another Survivor Radio on the way at some point. So, yeah, I'm really excited. Jane, we got to see if they can let you do some little concept art images or something and sneak those in during the Survivor Radio as images you've gotten from some of the survivors or whatever that they wanted to show on the broadcast.
It's definitely Broom is. I'm sure he's ahead of all that, and so it's not his style that he does. But if it's from the standpoint of it being from a survivor, hey, at least it's good enough for that, right? It'd be these are the diary sketches of a survivor that found a laptop with Photoshop or something,
Yeah.
So to speak. Yeah, but that'd be cool. I'd be honored. It'd be another way where a lot of us have the dream of getting something that we've done creatively in a game or in front of other people's eyes. Many of us have those. I mean, why are we on a webcam? Why are we talking about games? Why do we play games? Why do we obsess about games? We want to see our stuff in a game so that many other people can see it. Yeah, that'd be cool. I wouldn't even care if it had to be in a game. It just the fact that it was, they put my fan art on the website was cool. So yeah, it'd be fun to see that. Definitely.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mother truck and fan.
So we're getting fairly close to the end of things here, so I wanted to kind of give some time for everybody to say any final stuff, any other wrap-ups or anything before we kind of get into our outroductions, everybody getting to talk about their stuff. So was there anything else, anything on the stuff from Mitch Evans, the stuff that he does with the server-side code, the AI, the gameplay programming, anything about lessening KOS deathmatch factor, the karma system, potentially having that in, carcass decay, our little interlude about John Smedley, kind of the challenging part of Mitch Evans' job, and the heat map. Was there anything on any of that stuff or anything else either of you wanted to say before we get to the wrap-up?
Oh, are those the only topics? I'm kidding. It's 40,000 things.
Yeah, just the stuff in the video.
Wait, what am I talking about? No, I really just in general, these dev diaries are really fun. I mean, it's 4 minutes jam-packed full of information that we get to talk about for 2 hours. How awesome is that? So, yeah, keep that up. I'd love to see more of those.
I definitely like it. I do like those dev diaries. It kind of it solidifies our expectations a bit, and I know they're careful about what they put in there. So at least we can say, okay, that's the standard of what we're going to have, or what we should expect. So it helps the yearning for early access a bit. It kind of it's like a healing balm for that burning and that yearning for early access. But yeah, this last video was good, and the things he talked about were all the things that I'm interested in, and I look forward to seeing more and getting more. I'd like to see one thing I would like to see more of is more of the devs on the streams talking.
Oh yeah.
About the ones I've seen. Anytime they get on a stream, I haven't seen anything that's horrible or that I say, oh, they did a horrible job. No, they did a good job. Everybody's got their own personality, so it was very fun. It's been very fun to watch them on the different streams they have got on. But I definitely would like to see more of that happening too on the live streams.
For sure.
See their beautiful faces.
Yeah, I mean,
awesome faces.
It's nice to be able to meet them and get a chance to talk with them. And actually, that's going to be a really fun thing next week. After Dead Feature Rant, there's going to be an extra special 1 hour where I'm going to have Chris Roberts on here, and we're going to be talking about H1Z1. We're going to be talking about even more stuff. So that's
so random.
The email chain back and forth was pending, and now I finally got the final answer on it. So That's going to be
Very
totally
cool.
awesome. I'm really excited for that. And of course, the door is open for everybody. I've already asked Sony Shock and Cycles McHurts and Adam Clegg. I think Adam Clegg's going to be waiting until early access because you can't really talk about level design too much when you can't really show off the level design. And I've gotten to play the game a few times, but I definitely can't say like, oh yeah, that positioning where the doorway in that apartment swings outward instead of inward, so clutch for gameplay. Like, we can't do that yet. So yeah.
So you said I didn't catch the last part. You said you got Chris Roberts?
Yeah, Chris Roberts is going to be on next week after the show
For H1Z1.
Oh, wow.
for H1Z1.
I love that. I love that.
That's you're blowing my mind. Literally, that's a mind blow for me.
Are we thinking of a different Chris Roberts here?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, man. Why'd you talk about this?
All right. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it then. That's all we have to talk about, unless, once again, we still have a couple more minutes. If there is anything else either of you wanted to say before we sign off here.
I'm wondering if Sony Shock has any questions for us.
That's a good question, and he can ask a couple here and might be able to get answers. But to really ask us, the community, just coming on the show here would really make it a lot easier. And just ask us stuff because we can answer things a lot easier here. There we go. Thank you very much, Skylatron. All right, so we are wrapping up then.
That's true. Why don't you have a t-shirt or a hat, Jane? Why don't you?
Because Sony Shock, we covered this last week. There wasn't one, and it was brought up, and one still hasn't come into H1Z1 Jane's mailbox, so still doesn't have one.
There we go. T-shirt is definitely preferable. It's Florida, man. Those hats. You see what I do because it's Florida.
Yeah, makes sense. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm in the club.
Woohoo! Nice. Very cool.
I will do that.
Oh, and Skylatron, those the 10-ton hammer shirts from SOE Live. Did you know?
As far as I know, it's a work in progress. We've been totally swamped since we got back from PAX Prime. That hasn't been that long. It's been pretty crazy. So as far as I know, still a work in progress, and that will definitely be yours. You will have an I Got Hammered shirt.
Awesome.
Because I have one in my hands.
I am really excited to be rocking those because those are totally cool. But yeah, this is it for today's episode of H1Z1 Dead Feature Rant. I am, of course, y'all know me, Legendary Neurotoxin, and if you don't know what show I do or what shows I do other than this, go to the profile page or wait until the broadcast is over and just look at the offline screen because I've got it all posted. Nice 45 and a half hours myself. Skylatron, of course, with 10-ton hammer, and why don't you kind of talk about what you're up to and where we can find you?
Yeah, totally. All right, so I'm the social media person for 10-ton hammer, which means that if you follow 10-ton hammer in any capacity, I do all of the tweeters and the Facebooks. You can also find me as at Skylatron on Twitter and Twitch, where I am streaming. I'm doing variety stream right now because H1Z was not out, but yeah. There you go.
All right. Awesome. And then, Jane, if you want to kind of give a little rundown of your where to find you and what's up, and if there's any piece of art that you're working on that you might want to talk about a little bit here real quick.
Well, I'm H1Z1 Jane everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, DeviantArt, all that kind of stuff. I do not have any type of art that I'm currently working on, but I've got concepts in my head. So they're being in the birthing process, from hairless bears to giant hordes of people camping out, trying to keep zombies away, things like that. The sky's the limit, I guess. And that, no pun intended. with Skylatron next to me.
Yes.
But
Well, now that you pointed it out, actually.
the Skylatron is the limit. Nah. So far, because she was like the last one her image was the last one I've done so far. So far, Skylatron is the limit, right? Anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm goofy in person. Anyway, but yeah, H1Z1 Jane, just look me up, stalk me out there. I'm there. I'm in the Googles and the Tubes and the tweeters.
Awesome.
Tweeters and the whatnots.
Awesome. Very
Yes.
cool. So I'm going to bring this little party along to another fun place. This is somebody I tried to raid a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately Twitch was totally freaking out then, so I finally got in a half hour later to say, hey,
Cool.
dead feature raid. We're going to be heading over to Loco2525, who is somebody that I got a chance to meet at SOE Live, and when I met them, they were wearing an H1Z1 beanie, so I know where they're going to be playing when early access hits. Definitely head on over there. I'm going to be heading out and hanging out there for a little bit, and then, of course, I'm back on at 8 p.m. Pacific with more of the next set of stuff, but that's totally not dead feature rant related or H1Z1 related. So, see you folks all over on that channel. Thank you very much for coming through. Sony Shock, thanks for coming through here. Everybody in chat, you're all awesome folks. I think I said hello to pretty much everyone. So, yep. And Jane, Skylatron, awesome having you on. Gotta have you on again sometime for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cool. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
And we are done.
Woot. Choo choo. Did good. We did good.